Mr. Sammy just left my place. He told me, I want you to understand that what we are seeing on TV right now about bringing in the notes, it's like a clean sweep to get the old notes out, the damaged notes back and the counterfeit notes off the street before the rate hits. This will allow all these notes collected to get into the electronic system. Mr. Sammy says we are officially Category A currency now. It was Category C which was less desirable. That was required also for the WTO introduction. All these smaller exchange companies that have recently been licensed are now being linked to the big boy exchange companies. That all leads to something big is coming. Frank, yes, something big is coming. A fair amount of people think the auctions have ended. This article right here will crush and destroy that theory. Article: The central bank sells more than $1 billion in just 4 days. This article is very clear. The only changes that have occurred regarding the auctions is they're no longer having or holding cash withdrawal inside the country of Iraq. They're still auctioning off currency abroad to overseas banks, and they may have transitioned to a new financial system. Regardless, the important step in this is that the banking reforms are now getting implemented. That's a critical step to this. Government advisor: the growth rate of non-oil GDP during 2024 is unprecedented. It's great to see non-oil revenues skyrocketing. This will help support the value of the dinar. With the beginning of the new year, the US dollar enters a new phase in Iraq. Wow. This says it all. Yes, Iraq has now moved to normal ways of doing business with the outside world. Iraq had stayed on the currency auctions with the CBI supplying the dollars way too long, 20 years. This was never Dr. Shabibi's plan, but they were forced to due to the newer Obama plan of paying off the war reparations first than moving ahead with the currency reforms, which we have now witnessed aggressive movements in this direction since the beginning of 2023. Question: do you believe in the tiers getting paid first? I hate to break your heart, sweetheart, but there are no tiers. People created this illusion that if you belong to this tier you have to give up some of your dinar, you have to be part of their group, whatever it is you will be able to exchange first. That's beyond stupid as stupid can get. There are no tiers. There's no first level, second level, third level of our American population. Everybody's got dinars, everybody will be treated the same way. Why? Because they all fall under the international banking laws. There is no other ways. There is no other options. If they tell you, give me your dinars and you'll be part of the XYZ group, run. You're not allowed to do what they're doing. That's evil. According to articles, the numbers easily support a rate of $3.50 to $4 oil price. Global oil website: Trump will impose sanctions on Iraq. They say today the exchange rate is 1,320 dinar for every dollar. That is the true exchange rate. However, that will change to an international acceptable exchange rate when the central bank applies the new exchange rate to be on international forex markets. They're preparing for that to happen before our eyes with the new reinforcement mechanism. They have switched from the old dollar auction system. Iraq surpasses Saudi Arabia in oil exports to America. Quote: the U.S. Energy Information Administration announced on Saturday that Iraq surpassed Saudi Arabia in oil exports to the United States during the past week. The fact they are about to, or have, stopped the auctions means it has to be replaced with a new exchange rate to add value to your currency. If all of these things are true from Sudani, then another thing is true. EMO, the lower notes they're going to give you are now in position, ready, loaded to go, ready to be given to the Iraqi citizens. In Iraq it appears the final step in de-dollarization is happening. That is what I was told, although my one contact told me to not worry, and this is de-dollarization before the change. But the Central Bank of Iraq is claiming they sold 1 billion in 4 days. They keep saying auctions have stopped, but we are seeing evidence they are still moving foreign currency. We are not sure what is going on, but we are watching it. Things are quite confusing. Central bank work on the electronic platform has stopped. One of the things the central bank is stating they're going to do is end that old electronic transfer system that exclusively works with the dollar and transition to a different type of banking system where the local Iraqi banks can start doing their own sending of foreign currencies and no longer just the dollar, multiple different foreign currencies abroad. It's called direct banking, but to do that the US sanctions need to be lifted off of Iraq. That's why this whole time they've only been able to exclusively work with the US dollar. There's a difference between the dollar auctions and the reinforcement mechanism that they use today. Militiaman and crew have been quite clear that there's going to be a change, the dollar auctions are going to stop and there's something different. We have been spot on about the fact that the dollar auctions are going to go away, and they have. The executive director of the Azar oil field development project in the city of Ilam, western Iran, Kivanya Ahmadi, announced on Sunday that the Economic Council has approved the development of the second phase of the field, through new oil contracts with an investment of more than $1 billion, expecting that this contract will enter into force before next March. By holding several specialized meetings with representatives of the Planning and Budget Organization and submitting an explanatory report with supporting documents related to the description of the technical work, and the financial estimate for implementing the project, and explaining the objectives of developing the Azar oil field, the Economic Council's approval was finally obtained to develop the second phase of this oil field in the form of new oil contracts with an expected investment of more than $1 billion, Ahmadi said, according to the official Iranian news agency IRNA. It is expected that this will be done with the contractor fulfilling the basic conditions in the contract and the relevant procedures on the part of the employer, and this contract will be implemented and become effective before the end of this year. The Iranian year ends in March, he added. Ahmad pointed out that the dealer and gas and LNG plant, NGL 3100, will be launched in the near future, stressing that the compression and sweetening facilities of the associated gas in the Azar field, which were completed a long time ago, have been inaugurated and are ready to send gas to this plant. He pointed out that based on this, all activities of the first phase of developing this field will be determined and the main milestone, the turning point and main point of the project's progress, will be delivered. The first phase of developing this complex plant will reach its goal by achieving all contractual objectives and sharing the Iranian share of more than 70%, which led to the production of 83 million barrels of oil and revenues of nearly $6 billion. The Azar field is located in the discovered block Anaran, 25 kilometers from the city of Meran, near the Iranian-Iraqi border,